All right, so we're diving deep into student life today.
Okay.
And I know you're probably out there thinking, okay, give me the goods. How do I survive?
Yeah.
We all want those like key insights.
Yeah.
We've got this podcast conversation, a ton of advice,
Yeah.
but we're going deeper than just the typical study tips.
Oh,
They're going to get into some stuff that's really going to make you think.
Cool.
So they start off
Okay.
talking about friendships and how important those are to the whole student experience.
Yes. And they even shared some research about how students with strong friendships actually tend to do better academically.
Interesting. So it's not just about like feeling good and having people to hang out with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It actually like have tangible benefits.
I wonder if it's because the world is pushing so much collaboration and teamwork these days. And maybe if you start building those skills early on through friendships, it gives you an advantage later.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And they actually shared this story about one of the hosts and how they learned to actually like group projects.
Oh, wow.
Even when they were hard.
Yeah.
Because of the friendships they built through it.
So the shared struggle kind of brought them together.
Yeah, exactly. Like it made the learning more enjoyable.
Oh, that's so cool. It reminds me.
Yeah.
I was working on this giant research paper with some friends. We were all stressed and like hadn't slept enough.
Yeah.
But we would have these late night study sessions and they turned into these hilarious bonding experiences.
I love that.
It made the whole thing bearable.
Right.
And I honestly think we learned as much from each other as we did from the actual research itself.
Totally.
Have you had any experiences where the friendships really impacted what you learned?
Absolutely. Like those informal learning moments, the ones that happen outside of the classroom.
Yeah.
I think those are just as valuable.
For sure.
As the structured stuff.
Absolutely.
And speaking of which,
the
podcast actually goes on to talk about extracurricular activities. And exploring different interests outside of school.
It's so easy to get caught up in like the academic pressure and forget that learning happens outside of textbooks.
Yeah, like they even talk about exploring career options early on.
Oh, wow.
Which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, it's almost like they're encouraging students to treat student life as a testing ground for figuring out what they're passionate about.
Exactly, and what they're meant to do.
Yeah.
Which I think is brilliant.
It is.
Like they actually quote someone who said that exploring careers early helps students make informed decisions about their future.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's not about like locking yourself in right away.
It's more about opening yourself up to different possibilities.
Right. And getting a feel for what really like sticks to you.
And you know, they also talked about how those extracurriculars help students build a more well-rounded skill set.
So it's not just about padding the resume.
Right.
It's about real-world experience.
Yeah.
Figuring out what you're good at.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They shared another quote.
Okay.
Someone said that volunteering allowed them to learn new skills, meet people, and contribute to the community.
I love that.
Yeah.
So many people view student life as this like straight path to a career.
Linear.
Yeah.
Like a straight line.
But this podcast is advocating for something more holistic.
Totally.
Where you're exploring your interests, building relationships, and developing skills that will help you no matter what you end up doing.
It makes sense.
What do you think about that?
I completely agree.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that your time as a student is about way more than just academics.
Yeah.
It's about growing as a person.
Right.
Figuring out who you are. And building a foundation for a fulfilling life.
I like that.
Yeah.
So we've talked about friendships.
Yes.
And exploring your passions. But let's be real.
Okay.
Student life.
Yeah.
It's stressful.
It is.
There are challenges.
Absolutely. There's that pressure to do well in school and juggle all of your responsibilities.
Yeah.
Plus, you know, navigating all the social stuff.
Right. You're in a new environment.
It can be a lot.
Yeah.
But you know what? This podcast, they tackle this head on.
Good.
And they actually give some good advice for how to manage it.
See, that's what I love.
Yeah.
They're not pretending it's all sunshine and rainbows.
Right. They keep it real.
Yeah. They acknowledge the good and the bad, and then they're like, all right, here's how to make it work.
Exactly. And one thing they talked about was the Pomodoro method.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of that.
For time management. It's really helpful.
Have you ever tried that?
I have.
And does it work?
It's amazing how much more you can get done.
Really?
When you break your study sessions into smaller chunks.
Oh, interesting.
with breaks in between.
It's like tricking your brain into focusing.
Totally.
That's really cool.
They also emphasize setting boundaries.
Oh, yeah.
And learning to say no.
Especially.
Yes, especially with peer pressure.
Which is so hard.
It is.
It is.
You want to please everyone.
Yeah, and then you end up overcommitted.
And exhausted.
Yeah.
But they actually offered a really interesting perspective.
Okay, I'm curious.
They said that focusing on your own personal goals can be way more fulfilling than just trying to do better than everyone else.
Interesting.
Like, it's not about being the best or the most popular.
Right.
It's about being true to yourself.
Okay.
And what you want to achieve.
Yeah, I mean, especially in an environment where everyone's comparing themselves to each other.
It's so easy to get caught up in that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was pretty powerful.
It's a good reminder that your journey is your own.
Absolutely.
And you get to define what success means to you.
You do.
That's a good point to think about.
Yep.
We've covered a lot.
Yeah.
Friendships, extracurriculars, managing stress, defining success. But we're just getting started.
Yeah. We've got more to unpack.
Are you ready to dive a little deeper?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay,
so one thing that really stuck with me was how much they talked about embracing challenges as opportunities for growth.
Interesting.
They actually used this phrase, productive struggle.
Oh, wow.
Which I thought was really cool.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
So, like, are they saying that going through tough times can actually make you a better learner?
Exactly. Like, it helps you develop new skills.
Okay.
It makes you more resilient.
It's not about avoiding challenges.
Right.
It's about using them
to your advantage.
To get better.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting way to look at it.
It is.
It's easy to feel discouraged.
Oh, for sure.
When things get hard.
Totally.
But maybe if you reframe it as a chance to grow, it can help you stay motivated.
And focused on the bigger picture.
It makes me wonder, how do you deal with those moments of doubt or frustration?
You know, for me, it helps to take a step back.
Okay.
And remember why I'm doing this in the first place.
Oh.
What are my goals?
Right.
That helps me get some perspective.
Okay.
And realize that setbacks are normal.
They're part of the process.
They are.
And the podcast actually talked about that too.
They did.
The importance of self-care and stress management.
It's so important.
Right.
It's easy to forget about taking care of yourself.
Oh, yeah, when you're busy.
Especially when you're a student.
Yeah, with school and everything.
Exactly.
So what did they say about that?
They said it's really important to find activities that help you de-stress.
So like what?
Things you enjoy.
Okay.
Like exercise or spending time in nature.
Oh, yeah.
Or even just listening to music.
Yeah.
Or hanging out with people you care about.
Right.
Just things that make you feel good.
Yeah.
And they even mentioned specific techniques like mindfulness.
Okay.
Or deep breathing.
Those can be helpful.
They can really calm your mind and reduce anxiety.
I'm glad they're talking about the mental and emotional side of things.
Me too.
It's not just about pushing yourself to the limit all the time.
Exactly.
You have to take care of yourself.
To be successful.
Yeah. And it's something we all need to hear.
I agree.
Especially these days when everything feels so fast-paced, like you always have to be achieving something.
A lot of pressure.
Yeah. And it's all connected to that idea of lifelong learning that they talk about in the podcast. They're saying that the things you learn as a student, like time management, discipline, resilience, those are super valuable.
They are.
And you'll use them way after you graduate.
It's like student life is training you for the real world.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
Where you're constantly learning and adapting to new challenges.
And they had this quote.
Oh, yeah.
About curiosity.
That one really resonated with me.
I think I remember that one.
It said something like, curiosity encourages lifelong learning.
Yeah.
And I love that.
It is a good one.
It reminds us that learning shouldn't stop.
When you finish school.
Exactly. It should be part of your whole life.
Right. It helps us navigate the world.
And grow as people.
Absolutely.
Oh, and they also talked about financial responsibility.
Which is so important.
It is.
For students to learn early on.
It sets you up for success.
Yeah.
In the long run.
What do you think about that?
I think it's essential.
Yeah.
Like learning to budget and save and even invest.
Yeah.
It gives you more control over your future.
Right. And you can make better decisions.
Exactly.
Because you understand how money works.
And they actually gave some practical tips, too.
Oh, that's good.
For how to create a budget and track your spending.
That's super helpful.
It is.
Okay, so we've talked about resilience, self-care.
Yes.
Lifelong learning. Even finances.
A lot.
What other gems did you find in this podcast?
Well, they also talked about finding mentors and building relationships with professors.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they emphasized how important those connections can be.
Right, because they can give you guidance and support.
Exactly.
And even open doors to opportunities.
And you might not even know about those opportunities.
Right.
If you didn't have those connections.
Yeah, I had this professor in college who really went above and beyond to mentor me.
Oh, wow.
And it made such a difference.
That's amazing.
In my whole academic journey.
I love that.
Did you have any experiences like that?
I did, actually. Yeah, I had a professor who really encouraged me to do research.
Cool.
And he even connected me with people in my field.
That's awesome.
It was,
it
was huge.
Those relationships can really make a difference.
They can change your whole path.
Yeah, inspire you.
Totally.
To go after your dreams.
And actually, the podcast shared a story about one of the hosts and how they got their dream internship through a professor they knew.
So those relationships really can open doors.
They really can.
It makes you wonder how many students are actually taking advantage of that.
Right.
I mean, we all know professors have office hours.
We do.
But do we actually go?
That's a good question.
I feel like there's so much you can learn.
There is.
From just talking to them.
Absolutely, like insights you wouldn't get.
Yeah.
Just from going to class.
What do you think?
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I think sometimes students can be a little intimidated.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
By professors.
Yeah, or they think
they're too busy.
Yeah.
To meet with them.
Exactly.
But the podcast emphasized. Most professors are actually really approachable.
Oh, good.
And they want to help.
That's right to know.
Especially when students are proactive. And show a genuine interest in their field.
So don't be shy.
Right. Put yourself out there.
Yeah. Reach out to your professors.
It's worth it.
Okay, so we've covered mentors, relationships, resilience.
We have
self-care.
It's amazing.
Lifelong learning.
So much good stuff.
I feel like we found a gold mine.
We have.
Of wisdom in this podcast.
For sure.
What are some of the...
Okay, let me think. The key takeaways that really stood out to you.
Yeah. What are you walking away with?
Well, I think for me, it's this idea that student life is about so much more than just grades.
I like that.
It's about, personal growth and finding what you're passionate about.
Right.
And building relationships that matter.
And developing those skills.
Exactly.
That you'll use forever.
Yeah, it's about the whole journey.
That's a great way to put it.
With all the ups and downs and using those experiences to shape who you become.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
It's not a race to the finish line.
Right.
It's a chance to explore.
Experiment.
Yeah, to discover who you are.
Exactly.
And what you want to do in the world.
And, they talked a lot about that.
They did.
The journey of student life.
What does that word make you think of?
It makes me think about exploration.
Okay.
Growth. Self-discovery.
Yeah.
Like going outside your comfort zone.
Okay.
Trying new things.
Yeah.
And learning from your mistakes.
Right. It's all part of the process.
It is.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's one final question that our listeners should think about?
I think it would be this.
Okay.
If student life is a journey, where are you on that path right now?
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. What are you exploring? What challenges are you facing?
Yeah.
And what can you do to make the most of this incredible opportunity?
Right, because it is an opportunity for growth and self-discovery.
For sure.
That's a fantastic question.
Thank you.
It reminds us that we all have the power to create our own journey.
We do.
And student life is such a special time
it is
to do that. So to our listener, keep exploring. Keep learning, keep growing.
Yes.
Embrace the challenges, celebrate the victories.
Love it.
And make this journey your own.